Wachowski, and I'm the president of Grounds for Change. And we like to contribute to a fair trade world. And the way we do that, and what fair trade means to us, is that we like to support the local economy and the local people. We do this by, instead maybe of driving to Walmart and buying chai for cheaper, or sending away for a product that maybe that might be a little cheaper than what we can get around here. We like to go downtown and buy it, and we like to support the local businesses. Trade in general really goes a long way towards stimulating the local economy, and it also goes a long way toward a greener world, because when you're not ordering from San Francisco, when you're not ordering from Milwaukee, then those places aren't expending large amounts of gas of gas and oil to drive your product to you, and they're not emitting those carbons.
So, how does GFC participate in social change in other ways besides selling fair trade coffee?
In other ways, well, we like to hold open mic nights. We like so people can come up and play music and read their speeches and whatnot. We like to have free concerts, and we like to kind of stimulate and foster an intellectual atmosphere, which I believe is essential to any well-functioning society.
As president of GFC, how does it make you feel to be labeled as a leader of social change?
I didn't know that I had a leader, but that leadership label, but I'm really honored about it. I'm probably going to tattoo of it at some point. And I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
The fair trade movement started in Europe a decade or more ago, and it recognizes that as consumers we may be looking for the lowest price, but as ethical human beings we're just not consumers. We look for the lowest price, but we also want that to be moderated by our sense of fairness and justice. And so the fair trade movement recognizes that buying and selling is an important part of our lives, but it can't simply be left to the market system. Will it be good for Meadville, right? Several businesses in Meadville already sell fair trade products, and so students coming together, as they have this last year, to try to get fair trade status for Meadville, Meadville is a fair trade town, are all about trying to reward those people who are already selling fair trade products here, sort of acknowledge them, let the community know, and also let the larger region know that at Meadville we're continuing to talk about sort of fair trade issues. How would it make me feel to be labeled a leader of social change? Would make me feel pretty, I think, awkward. And I hope it doesn't sound like false modesty, but it just really weirds me out. So folks often ask, how can you make social change work, or how can things like the coffee house or other instances of social change be successful? And you can't go into a situation and tell people what to do. That people who are trying to make things happen have to see themselves as yeast in the bread, as catalysts for action. And so there's this strange mix of self-confidence, because going into a situation where you're not quite sure what's going to happen is, you need self-confidence, kind of a tolerance for ambiguity, and humility. That whole idea is very Jeffersonian, sort of going back to the founding fathers. Jefferson strongly believed that if regular people, given the chance to reflect on kind of what they wanted and what they needed and what was getting in the way of a good life, would surprise you. They wouldn't be narrow, mean-spirited, acquisitive people. They would tend to think more high-mindedly if you gave them the chance and really pushed them hard to debate and to ponder sort of what was really important in life. And Alinsky was very much of that view. So he, as others would argue, that if you want to make stuff happen, you can't go in with an agenda. You have to go in with a real faith in the people with whom you're working. As an undergraduate, when I went to Berkeley, I went to Berkeley as an undergrad, and I took a course in environmental studies. And at that point, like a lot of kids my age, I thought that litter was the number one environmental issue. And if we could just get those stupid people to quit throwing cups out of their car, it'd be so much better. And I had in my head that the problem was that people were just basically lazy and short-sighted. And so if we could just change those people, if we could just educate those people, things would be pretty cool. And I ended up falling into a number of classes at Berkeley where it just became clear that people weren't the problem. That most people don't get up in the morning and get dressed and say, oh, I want to be complicit in global environmental destruction today. I mean, most folks don't look to do the bad thing. And so I came to learn that while people could do some pretty stupid things, people can also do some pretty amazing things. As hard as it is to change social structures, it's really easy compared to the task of changing human nature. And so if you think these problems are rooted in human nature, as I did when I was a high school kid, then you're sort of left trying to bang your head against the wall to change people, and that's not a very joyful activity. But this idea of trying to change structures and incentives, like the coffee house, for example, and that's changing in a small way a structure, it's creating opportunities, but that change is a lot easier than we think it is.